episode of Kathor Vaani, brought to you by the Student Alumni Committee of IIM Rohtak. Today we have with us Mr. Ashish Pathak. Ashish completed his bachelor's in chemistry from Delhi University and joined IIM Rohtak for his MBA in the 2015-17 batch. He is currently working as the senior product manager at Ticket.com and has previously worked with organizations like Paytm Payments Bank, Paisa Bazaar, and RBL Bank. We are delighted to have you with us and are looking forward to have an exciting conversation with you. So the
Oh,
podcast will be of three segments, formal, informal, and the rapid fire segment. So I'll start with the formal segment.
yeah.
So the first question is, what role does customer centricity play in the development process of a software product?
So I think it depends on the kind of product you want to develop. So broadly, there is product centric, and then there is customer centric. One good example of a product centric could be Tesla, right? Where it was a blue ocean. There was no uh, predefined needs or requirements, right? So first you basically focus on providing a top-notch product in terms of where you are giving customer completely new experiences, right? So that's product centric. For customer centric, I think majority of the products that currently are in development or are being developed are customer centric, and I think uh, uh, through your entire product development cycle, right, customer is always at the center of product development, right from when you are ideating a product. You are trying to put yourself in the customer's shoe, and there are you are trying to do some A/B testing. You are trying to understand, you are trying to develop multiple features or versions of a feature, where you just want to understand how customers are perceiving your product. So, and as I said, from the ideation part, you basically focus on what exactly is the problem that this is solving for the customer. So, all in all, I think for entire product development and a product lifecycle, centricity is one of the very key features which uh, provides a direction to product managers, I think.
Yeah, so that was really informative. So the next question is, what are the skill sets that are required for an MBA student to pursue software product development? Also, what is it that a recruiter is looking forward for a product role?
Uh, to be honest, product development is not a very hard skill demanding job. It's more of a soft skill requirement that you get in a product development role. So, for example, you need not know coding end to end to be a product manager, right? But as we touch based on our previous question, the customer centricity, it is important that one understands uh, the one understands what customers needs are, one empathizes with the customer, right, and one who has a knack of problem solving. I think that's one of the very important traits in a product manager, where you would see that the person is good with identifying gaps in terms of what is offered versus what is desirable, and is also working constantly towards solving those problems. And that problem is not only related or limited to product development in terms of solving customer problems, but also during the product development, because the number of stakeholders that a product manager needs to reach out to in during the development phase uh, is also very challenging, right? So I think stakeholder management and solving the problems that come during the development also is one of the key features. So to answer your second part also, when there is recruitment done for a product manager, it usually revolves around your problem solving, problem identifying ability, right? Just to give you an example, uh, a typical product hiring process is around 4 to 5 rounds. Typically, if I mean it depends from organization to organization, but that is something that I have experienced in the past 6 years. That it's around 4 to 5 rounds where you start with first the fitment, right? Is the right is the guy is the experience or is the thought process aligned with the company's thought process, right? That's a basic round that you understand, and then you straight away move to the case study rounds. And case studies, I think, are one of the most important or vital part during your development. During your recruitment process also. So you get your and the problems, the kind of problems, the case studies that you're given are typically around uh, identifying and solving a problem. And nobody during the interview is basically assessing your answer, but rather your approach to those answers. So, and this the case study can happen for both a product case study or it can be a technical case study where the again, as I mentioned, the assessment is primarily based on your approach of solving that problem. That's very vital. So, I think if anybody who is willing to pursue product as a career option, uh, one needs to develop that knack of identifying and solving problems and see how relevant it is, right? It is for a product also, it is not always that you shipped a product and that's the end of your job. You need to also be part of the product life cycle where you are working towards ideations at the beginning and then iterations while the product is live, right? So I think yes, end to end, I think three characteristics if I have to point it out. One is identifying gaps, solution problem solving, and stakeholder management. And lastly, just want to add one more. You could be uh, should be somebody who has good analytical ability, because once the product is live, you tend to utilize a lot of tools and depend a lot on numbers in terms of how user behavior is. So somebody who's good with numbers also is, I think, one of the key factors, and that is why for a lot of uh, organizations, there are uh, tests to check one's analytical skills as well, right, as part of their recruitment process. So yeah, that's in all, these are the key broad parameters where one can work on.
That would be really useful for us moving forward. So the next question
Absolutely.
is, how can MBA students pivot to a product role?
So somebody who is, so I think, as I mentioned earlier, right? So it is not just for an MBA student. It's not necessary that you need to be a MBA graduate to get into product. I think a lot of bigger, large scale product companies, product focused companies, people are usually from somebody who have done the tech part of the development and then they have moved to the product side. So for anybody who wants to pivot to a product role, uh, I think one needs to, how do I put it? So basically, there are, as I mentioned, there are key features for your product development to get those skills as a product manager. At the same time, product is a very industry agnostic role. It doesn't mean that somebody who is working in an travel online travel platform can tomorrow not work for a uh, ride hailing app like Uber or Ola, right? So it is a very industry agnostic, and the good part of that is that the skill sets required are very limited, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's just the soft skills, not the hard skills. So somebody who wants to pivot to a product role should first identify what kind of product role the person is really interested in. Because it's, I mean, even within product development, there are multiple categories. If I can put that way, there are multiple categories and there are multiple versions to a product role, right? Where your uh, KRAs do vary a bit. So you need to identify what sort of product role are you looking for. right? Second is, I think if I am to put a put a put a put a finger on what sort of roles are coming up the most, I think product is one of the most required skill currently in the market. So I think you can go ahead, apply to your you know required depending on your requirements and your assessment. You can go ahead and apply and get I think a lot of times people are not even aware that they are a good product fit, but during the interview process they realize that, oh yes, I think I have this ability, right? So yeah, I mean, it's not a hard task to pivot to a role into product. It's considerably easy, uh, but at the same time it can be difficult if you don't have the desirable skill set, obviously.
That was great to know. The next question is for B2B and B2C products, how different is the market research process?
So see, your product is very different for a B2C when you compare the product, a B2B product versus a B2C product, right? The scale is different, user scale is different. Then the focus while you are developing that product is very different. So there are, when you're doing market research, you in B2B it is more on digital platforms, right? It is more on via mails, via communication, uh, because the end user of your B2B product, or the end customer of your B2B product, are usually executives, right? You cannot reach out to them uh, every now and then and plan a session. So it needs to be in a digital format. So that's one, the channel through which you get your market research done. Vis-a-vis a B2C product, it is, I think, most helpful and relevant is focused group. So, and it is very used. I, as part of in my organization also, we focus a lot on focus group research. And obviously when you are, as part of the research, when you are asking the questions, a B2C questionnaire focuses mainly on features and customer experience, whereas a B2B focuses on utility, right? Utility of the product. And hence, the kind of questions that you're asking is very different. In B2B, you primarily focus, as I said, on utility. So the questions are very technical in nature. And it is for a very specific segment of people who are actually helping us with those questionnaire. For B2C, it is, as I said, focus groups are usually randomly selected in terms of focusing that you get a very eclectic customer base whom you are from a customer base whom you are targeting, right? So questionnaire is different. The kind of the type of questions is different. And when you're doing a product research, you do keep in mind the MVP, the kind of minimum viable product that you want to bring to the audience. So in a B2B, the opportunities for iterations is very less. So you tend to develop an MVP which is actually your final product, and if not final, almost 90% your final product, because the cost is high, the cost of iteration is high, right? Vis-a-vis a B2C product where your MVP does lack some features which you think is not really important in terms of customer adoption, and it can have multiple iterations, so the cost is less for those iterations. And because of this, you approach your research differently in a B2B versus a B2C. So I think, yeah, these are the couple of feature, I mean, different approaches to a B2C versus a B2B research.
So that ends our formal segment. Now Shreya will take over with the informal segment.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all of your informative answers. We certainly found it very useful. But now for the fun
Thank you.
part. So I have
Okay.
a couple of fun questions for you. To
Yeah.
start off with, how would you compare your life at IIM Rohtak with your current corporate life? What is it that you find more challenging?
Uh, I would call my professional life more challenging compared to my college life. And given the kind of student I was, I would not call my 2 years at IIM Rohtak challenging because I enjoyed the entire curriculum a lot, and that was a first time experience for me, right? I mean, in terms of me moving to a hostel, so a residential program has its own benefits, and I think I enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah.
That's great. So my next question for you is, what are the perks of having an IIM tag in the corporate world?
Yeah, to be honest, 5, 6 years down the line, you feel that you get to I mean everybody around you, you are in a kind of a middle level, mid-level role, and everybody that you see around you are from the top tier B schools, yeah, primarily, right? I'm not generalizing that, but most of them are from IIMs, and you get a sense of comfort, if you have that tag, that you get that confidence to have that uh, alignment in terms of, or rather not in alignment, but in terms of you understanding their thought process, how, from what background do they have, since you have similar backgrounds. I think it is easier to gel in, it is easier to communicate, and it does helps you with confidence a lot. Yeah.
Great. Looking forward to that boost of confidence, all of us are. And next,
uh,
if given an opportunity to go back in time, would you have approached your MBA life differently?
so for the fun part, no, I think I had everything possible. But from the academics, I think I would have, uh, because I was a fresher, right? So I it was slightly harder for me to relate to the case studies that were the prime focus of our curriculum, right? I think with some experience, or for a fresher also, I could have approached the case study solutions slightly differently, right? So I think, yeah, that could have been different.
So, my last question for you is, what advice would you give to students who are currently pursuing or want to pursue an MBA here at IIM Rohtak?
So I think it is one of the best B schools, right, in India right now. And the best part, I think, we also have been selling this, and it is a very valid point of its proximity to the capital, both from the fun part and for your career perspective, right? 80 kilometers, very good highway. I mean, the moment you get a time, you can come out and party. In Delhi, it is very convenient, and from a career perspective, I think uh, it is placed better in terms that you get better corporates coming to the college, not for placements only, but for interactions also, because MBA as a curriculum has a very important part of your interaction with the corporate before you land there, right? And that is through guest lectures and seminars. I think the quality that we get because of the proximity to the capital is exceptional, and the overall infrastructure has gone up significantly. So it does add to the overall value of the entire learning. And lastly, I think MBA programs are not just about classrooms. It is the overall 2 years experience that actually prepares you for the corporate, right? So even if everybody who's sitting here is everybody are fresher, but I think you are in some way are still being mentally uh, being prepared for that corporate already. So IIM Rohtak does has that uh, part of the curriculum where you tend to be unintentionally being prepared or intentionally being prepared for the corporate already. So that's a good thing, right?
So great. That was all of my questions, but the fun part is not over yet. So I'd like to now
Mhm.
invite Kritika for the rapid fire round.
Continuing to the fun part of this conversation, we have a rapid fire segment for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to, we will be giving you a word. So you have to say the first thing which comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So the first word to you is deadlines.
Deadlines. Burning the midnight oil.
Okay. Okay. The next word would be guest lectures.
Guest lectures. Yes, I had a thing for guest lectures. I think uh, longer classes in one stretch. We used to sit
Yeah.
for 3 hours in one go.
Yeah. Next word would be group projects.
Group projects. Oh, I think it was more of night canteen reason. I mean, visits. Reason to visit night canteen. Group projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The next would be free riders.
Free riders. Group projects.
Okay. The next would be hostel life.
Hostel life. Unbeatable. No matter where you are in which part of the world, nothing beats hostel life.
Mm, Right. I agree with that on you.
Yeah.
Okay. The next would be placement week.
Oh, placement week. Starts with uh, concern, ends in parties.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the next would be exams.
Exams. I think I managed to be awake for 3 hours straight. That was difficult. I mean, it
Okay.
was difficult for me to be awake in exams.
Okay. Okay. So the last word would be roommate.
Roommate. For me, it's a friend for life. So very
Yeah.
close friends, and it's a good thing.
Okay. So we also have some few questions we wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Yeah. So the one question we wanted to ask you is, what are common beliefs about your role that you disagree with?
It is no work, but high visibility that I totally do not agree with. Could be because most of the times we are managing stakeholders. That is how it seems, right, in a product development. And what else? We at times, because product guy is the leader. At times, I'm not saying
Mhm.
is the leader, but at times he is leading discussions or you know the arguments. So the perception is that the product is the leader or the primary owner of any product team. I disagree with. I think it has a role of, I mean, it is contribution of every team at the similar scale. So yeah,
Okay, so the last question for the segment would be, what is the one question you wish that we have asked you in this podcast?
I don't know about what you would have wished, but one that I was slightly concerned of was you asking my grades. So I was thinking of what answer could I have given for that, just to avoid that. But I think it was a fun session. Thank you so much for inviting me, and probably the first time I'm doing this, but I hope it was useful to the ones who are actually, trying to get some idea about product management. Because back in the time when we were, passing out, we there was no such role. Right? I mean, it was very limited, and now it is. I think one of the roles where I believe that there are students coming out of college who want to get into product. So I wish and I hope this would have helped them.
Okay, great. So thank you so much, Ashish, for your contribution. It had been a really exciting session for us. We had a great time
Thank
with
you so
you.
much.
We will be back with such exciting podcast. Then till then, stay tuned.